Hey everybody, welcome to Hidden Horror. How are you guys doing today? I hope all is well and I just hope you're having a great day. So today I'm here to talk about the mass shooting that happened at Appalachee High School in September of 2024. Um, we're going to talk about Colt Gray, but more specifically, his father, who is on trial, who has been charged with numerous counts for that mass shooting where two students and two teachers were uh, unalived because we can't use certain words. So um, I want to say the names of the victims first and put their pictures up. So just give me 1 second. Okay. I have so many notes. There were two 14-year-old students, and I want to get their names correct. I'm just trying to separate the cases. And two teachers. Okay, can't find the information off the hand quickly. Hmm, I don't want to guess. I want to get the names perfect. So just give me one moment. So we have four victims, two 14-year-old students. Um, I want to get their names perfect, okay? So I apologize. We have victims. So I don't want to say anything incorrect. So just give me one moment. We have Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angelou, again, both age 14. We have math teacher Christina Irami, she was 53. And we have math teacher and football coach Richard Aspinwall, who was 39 years old. And I would like to share a picture of all of them. So just give me 1 second. Okay. Share my screen. I knew I was going to start with the picture of them because now we're getting into more conversation about the trial. And, you know, we're looking at the events and what happened, but we don't want to forget the victims. Of course, this is always going to be a tragedy within this area, within the school, within the faculty, the students. It's a trauma. So we just want to remember the victims again. Richard Aspinwall, 39, Christina Irami, 53, and both 14-year-olds, Mason Sherman and Christian Angelou. Okay, so I just want to start with that and acknowledging them and their families and just praying for healing for this community and for all of the survivors and the other victims that survived this. Okay, we want to also remember them as we talk about this case because it has an impact, it has an effect on the community, the residents, definitely the education system and teachers and faculty. Okay, so now I want to turn my attention to the discussion for today. So I'm going to share my screen, and it's going to be a picture of Colt Gray, Colt Gray is Colt Gray's father, and he's on trial. Today, we're going to talk about the real basis of how this case unfolded. I'm going to show video from the the school bus, and also Appalachee High School. And the FBI, they really did a great job taking snippets of the school bus with Colt Gray getting on the bus with the backpack that had the weapon, and then taking that backpack into the school, going throughout the school, basically tracking him throughout the school and during the beginning of the school day to his first hour, second hour, and then up to the events of the mass shooting. Now, we're never going to be shown those clips of the mass shooting. That's something that they're not going to allow, but we see everything up leading up to the mass shooting. And I always try to find what can we learn? What can we learn from vulnerabilities of the system, the school system, safety systems, to people just reporting what they see, what they know, what they believe. Time is a great factor. If this is done timely, maybe we can prevent, it's all about prevention in the end. Maybe we can prevent something like this from happening. We can reduce the number of people that are injured, etc. So let's just jump right in. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is going to be a witness that's on the stand. He's a detective, and he's going to cover basically the beginnings of the track that they did throughout the school. They'll have a map, and they'll show us where Colt Gray had kind of traversed through the school and his behaviors and what he was doing. But it's also going to pick up from the beginning of the day when Colt initially gets on the school bus, and then we'll see his path leading up to his decision to start the mass shooting. So let's get started. Okay, this video, it is provided by Megan Kunith, and it's titled "Father Weeps as Jury Sees Video of Son, KILING, 4 at high school." So again, this is in Georgia. This was September 4th, 2024, and we're going to see in real time the goings about of our mass shooter, who at the time was 14 years old. He had just started high school in the 9th grade. And I want you to remember this as you watch all of this unfold. This was the beginning of the school year, and I didn't understand, this is my biggest takeaway, why nobody stopped Colt when they saw the backpack with the alleged project. Early on, you don't get big projects in the beginning. So I didn't understand why, from the bus driver to any staff, security teachers, why nobody stopped him and really said, "Let me see your project," because of the length and how it was protruding from the backpack. That is just, I just don't understand. Now, we'll say his first hour teacher did report it, but there was not enough time, and there was actually a mix-up in the classroom between Colt Gray and Colton Gray. The odds of that is just wild, but it was a mix-up. So let's get started. This video is an hour, so let's go.
My name is Special Agent Lucas Meyer. I'm with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. My name is spelled LUCASBEYER.
And where do you work, sir?
Currently, I'm employed with the GBI's SEAC unit. That's Child Exploitation and Computer Crimes.
Okay. And how long have you worked for that unit?
Since July 1st of 2025.
Okay. And back in 2024, where did you work?
I worked at the GBI's Athens Regional 11 office.
Okay. And does Region 11 cover Barrow County?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. Were you working the day that on September 4th, 2024?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where were you that morning?
So that morning I was located at the GBI office in Athens. I was just doing standard work, sitting at my desk working on various reports. At some point in the morning, I don't remember the exact time, supervisor notified the entire office that there was an active shooter situation occurring in Barrow County. And we immediately dropped what we were doing, got into our vehicles, and started moving towards Appalachee High School.
About what time did you arrive at Appalachee High School?
My best estimate would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10:40, 10:45 a.m.
Okay. And what happened when you arrived?
When I arrived at Appalachee High School, I got on my vest and I entered the school at a doorway nearest the guidance counselor's office. I traveled down a hallway and made contact with some law enforcement officers that were already in the building, got an assessment of what was going on and where we were needed. I was guided towards the atrium where there was a large contingent of law enforcement personnel meeting and trying to come up with a plan to do a secondary clear of the school. By the time I arrived, the primary clear of the school had already occurred, and it's standard operating procedure to do a secondary clearing of the school to make sure that any other injured individuals are located, to make sure that there are no more threats inside the building. So I joined up with a team of Georgia State Patrol, Barrow County Sheriff's Office, myself, and some other various law enforcement that were on scene, and we conducted a secondary clear of our assigned sector.
Okay. A brief synopsis. What else did you do that day?
During the clear, or during the secondary clear, the team that I was assigned to, we happened to be assigned to do a secondary clear of what ultimately turned into the crime scene. So once the clear was concluded, I started communicating with my crime scene specialist, Special Agent Daniela Stewart. Started providing her an assessment of what the scene looked like. Told her to bring as much equipment as she could. And I started conducting various investigative acts that I thought would be necessary, including locating and collecting surveillance video.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that. Did you at some point collect all the surveillance video pertinent to that area of the school?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And over the next few days and weeks, did you watch all of that school surveillance video?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And describe to me the system in general of how it worked with the surveillance system.
The surveillance system was centralized within the school. When I initially requested the surveillance video, I made contact with a school resource officer at the school, and he started the process of identifying videos and isolating them for download. It actually took quite a while to download the video, so I didn't end up picking it up physically until the following day. But the system was centralized in the school. All the cameras were coordinated. They were all on the same timestamp. Each classroom had an individual camera in it that was located in the top center of the ceiling. It had a fisheye lens, so it could catch a 360-degree view despite being a single camera. There were also surveillance cameras positioned throughout the hallways, also mounted on the ceilings. All these cameras operated on the same timestamp. The surveillance cameras in the hallway provided a slightly different angle. They weren't fish-eyed like the classroom cameras were, but they still coordinated at the same time.
Okay. When you're reviewing these videos, can you pick and choose, or is it you're watching this hallway camera throughout the entire time, and then you're watching this television or this classroom camera all the way through?
While I was watching the video, it was individual camera feeds exclusively.
Okay. And were you able to piece together a timeline of following Colt from when he got on the bus until all the way through the shooting?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. I want to pull up a map of the school.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it right here. So this is what I was saying. They were able to get his movements, Colt Gray's movements, from the initial bus pickup when he got on the school bus to the school and throughout the school. They were able to track him. And when I say they did an excellent job stringing all of the videos together so we could follow along. And we need this information. This can help us learn the mindset of these students, how they're planning, their preparation, their thoughts, and when they feel there's an opportunity to start the mass shooting, we can learn from this. So let's continue.
And there should be a pointer up there still from the last witness. Yeah. And so it's, if you use the one behind you and show us from the video, I want you to walk us through Colt's path from when he got off the bus at the school through the shooting.
The bus dropped Colt off approximately here. Colt traveled and entered the school through a set of doors here. He traveled down this hallway.
Would you flip for us?
You stand on the other side of your chair. You stand on this side.
Yeah, I apologize. Start over. The bus dropped Colt off here. He entered the school through a set of doors here, moved along this hallway, and then there was a large gathering area, a cafeteria here. Colt walked along the outside of that cafeteria, traveled down this main hallway into the atrium, and then entered this hallway where he entered his first period classroom.
And could you point out his first period classroom for us?
First period classroom was, I believe, one of these two classrooms here.
Okay. And at the end of first period, where did he go?
He exited his classroom, continued to travel down this hallway, and entered this hallway here, traveled all the way down, and then entered J Hall, where he went to his second period class,
Okay.
which is located here.
Okay. And for the shooting, when he left the second period class, where did he go?
He exited second period, traveled back down this hallway, and entered the bathrooms that are located here.
Okay.
He remained in the bathrooms for an extended period of time, ultimately exited the bathroom, and traveled back to his second period classroom where he attempted to gain access to that classroom.
And did he gain access to the classroom?
No, sir, he did not.
What did he do at that point?
He moved to the immediate neighboring classroom. The door was open in that classroom, and he entered that classroom and proceeded to shoot.
How far into the classroom?
Okay, so I want to just say this. You have to look at this as opportunity. When he tried to return to his classroom, the door was locked. A student saw that he had the weapon. So he just went and let me just say this also. He went next to the neighboring classroom, which the door was unlocked, and that's where he entered and did the shooting. But all of this pain, this trauma, this shooting, this violence occurred in less than 1 minute. I believe they had it down to 41 seconds. The loss of life, the years of needing therapy and having survivor's guilt or feeling PTSD, all of this from 41 seconds, okay? This is why prevention is just so important, but let's continue.
Did he enter?
No more than 3 or 4 steps, sir.
Okay. And how many shots did it appear in the video? How long was he in the room shooting?
He was in the room for 10 to 12 seconds, if memory serves correctly. It was difficult to tell based off the video and the video quality how many shots he took, but it was several shots that he took inside that classroom.
Okay. And when you left that classroom, where did he go?
When he left the classroom, he went back down J Hall, traveling back towards the restroom. When he was approximately here in the hallway, he fired some more and ultimately struck teacher Christina Ermey.
We'll stop you there. We got a more close up. Put that here. Probably easier for you. Make sure you're having a stretch there.
Thank you.
It's showing that to the jury, so we're not seeing that.
All right. So once again, this was the classroom that he started firing in. When he exited that doorway, he traveled down the hallway And when he was almost at the intersection of J Hall and I Hall, he saw Miss Ermy coming out of this classroom. He fired the rifle, struck her, and then almost simultaneously turned his attention down this hallway where he saw Mr. Aspinwall and Mr. Phoenix coming out of their respective classrooms, at which time he fired several more shots in their direction, striking both of them. After turning his attention away from Mr. Phoenix and Mr. Aspinwall, he continued to travel down this hallway until he reached almost the end of the hallway. It was at that point that Mason Schermerhorn came out of the bathroom. Colt turned around, saw Mason Schermerhorn coming out of the bathroom, fired at him. He initially missed. Mason turned around to try to flee. Unfortunately, he turned right around to face Colt Gray, and he was shot at that point. After shooting Mason Schermerhorn, Colt turned down this hallway. And he tried to lift the rifle and take aim at another student that was in that hallway, Zane Zinni. But it was at that point that the Brevard County school resource officers came down the hallway and we were able to get Colt to stop shooting.
Thank you. Because you had to watch all of this on individual cameras, did you have an idea about doing something to fix that?
Yes, sir. I tried to get in touch with, or I did get in touch with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and asked about resources to put the video together and stitch it together in a more cohesive video product so that when viewing the video, it didn't have to be individual videos and clicking on different files, that we could just generate a singular file that would show a stitched together version of all the events and all the cameras pieced together.
Okay. And were those videos sent to the FBI so they could make that composite video?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And was that composite video returned, and have you seen that video?
I have seen that video, yes, sir.
Okay. Does it accurately depict the shooting and the course of Colt Gray through the school as you saw it?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. You're on. This time I tender the videos 192.1 and 192.2 in the evidence.
Okay. 191 and 192.
Okay. And there's also footage that will be showing that's already admitted into evidence, which is exhibit number 22, correct? 22 from the classroom, Your Honor. We're also going to be showing what's already in evidence, which is exhibit 22, the fisheye, Your Honor.
So now this is the initial school bus pickup. So as you can see right to the left, here comes Colt Gray, and he has the weapon wrapped and covered. It's kind of partially concealed in the backpack, but he has paper over it. And let's just pause it right here. Let's just take it back a second. Right here. This is my issue. This is my issue from the jump. He is barely able to hold the backpack. The object is like twice the size of the backpack in length. It's protruding from the backpack. It's heavy. He's tugging it to hold it. And who has a project this early on? What's in there? Why didn't the school bus personnel ask? Why didn't the staff at the school security inquire? This is a huge item. And honestly, it's the length of a assault rifle. Let's continue. It's just unbelievable. I'm sorry, if I had seen this, and there's a lot of people on this bus, you know, um, did they wonder what it was? Was there other people in his class like, what is that? Like, what are you bringing to school? I mean, none of these other kids have anything close to that. And this is why people are saying, they need clear backpacks so they can see. But somehow, some way, if there's a will, a person that's determined will get that weapon into the school. But this is not that case where they're even trying to really conceal it or hide it or bring it into the school some kind of way. He walked this full length, several feet long assault rifle into the school. And it's like nobody was any wiser. Nobody paid any attention. Right there. Right there. He's got like a poster board. It's like tape. It's protruding out the backpack. And he needs the backpack because how is he going to carry it and hold it? It's literally sitting in the backpack. This is infuriating. Like, what is that? It angers me. Like, what the heck? So he's on the school bus for 12 minutes. Now, I'm surprised, nobody was paying attention. Nobody took a picture. Nobody inquired, like, hey, bro, what is that? Like, what's that big item in there? And where are you taking to school? Well, everybody's kind of in their phone. I mean, it's early. I'm sure they're tired and kind of still sleepy, but we have to pay attention. We have to look around, look at our surroundings. So they're arriving at the school. He gets right up to get off the school bus. Again, we see the item. He has a hat on the tip of the barrel. You got some adults here. Nobody's wondering, hey, what is that in there? What's that big object? What's that heavy object? What's in the bag? What is he carrying? Where is he going with it? He comes right into the school. And no one stops him. No one checks him. There's no metal detectors. There's no security. He just walks right in. He's in there. And he's just going along with his day. With this big object on camera. There's somebody right there. There's staff right there. Excuse me. The man in the cranberry color shirt, he's right there. Colt is right here walking past you. There's a threat there. Nobody sees it. Walks through large area, lots of people. Nobody wonders, hey, where are you going with that? What's in there? What's that? It's unbelievable. It's like he's not even trying to hide it. Where's staff? Where are teachers? Where's the administrators? Where's the principal, the assistant principals? Where is security? They don't see him with this huge object on camera. He's not hiding it. It's so big he has to carry it up against his chest. It's heavy. Nobody even stops him or says anything to him. Again, another staff member in the green shirt. He walks right past him. Look how many staff he's passing by. Looks like another staff member here in the red top. He's gonna come up and walk past her, and nobody thinks, oh, let me question what he has going on. What's in that bag? What's so long, so big, so heavy? You don't even think to say anything to him? Right in front of the teacher now. The teacher is right here. Sees him bring this object in the room. He got the weapon in the school with no one stopping him, no one questioning him, no one wondering what it was, asking him, saying, hey, what's going on? What's in the bag? Let me see. Let me check your bag. I'm going to continue my series on the report that I received from the FBI that I found about school safety. We have to do better. There has to be some colliding into these kids' lives to ask them, hey, what's going on? What is that? Let me see what you have going on. Let me see your project. Here, bring it up here. Open it up. So frustrating. I noticed when I was watching the video, he was shaking his leg like in a nervous pat, like patting his leg against the ground. He leaves out of the classroom. Oh, he's just going over there. Okay. None of the other students are even paying attention to him or the backpack. And I mean, he's literally sitting right in front of the teacher. Okay, this is where he goes out. Leaves the object. Leaves it in the classroom. It's like he's not even worried about them finding it or looking at his backpack or searching it or calling for security or taking possession of the bag. It's like beyond disbelief. Like, where is he going, man? He turns around. I thought he was going to take the weapon and hide it like in a locker or something. He just carries it to class. Now, that's possibly like a boys' restroom. I don't know if he's nervous, if he's having doubts, if he's thinking about it, if he's thinking maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I should change my mind. I can only imagine all the thoughts uh, butterflies in his stomach for what he's about to do, what he's planning to do. Now is the day. Now is the time. Is he going to do it? Or is he going to change his mind? He didn't change his mind. He did this thing. What were his thoughts? What was he thinking? All this time, the bag is unattended, left in the classroom. Is he afraid? Does he have a lot of fear? Is this anxiety kicking in? Is this nervousness? What are his thoughts now? Is he still trying to decide if he's going to follow through? Is he trying to figure out when does he want to start the shooting? Now he's back. You know, if his first hour teacher felt that he could possibly be a threat and have a weapon, why didn't she take the bag? He was in that restroom or wherever he went for a few minutes, it appears. Why didn't she take possession of the bag? Why did she call for security? Why didn't she dismiss the class and tell him she needed to talk to him? You know, we have to find ways to prevent these mass shootings. Is there a panic button in the classroom? What could she have done differently? Is there a probable cause for a teacher where she can act? Because he really could have taken a lot more lives. This is less than 1 minute of violence, of terror. And these people, they're going to be traumatized for life, man. You know, it just feels like something that could have been prevented. See that tapping, that nervous tap with his foot? Is he trying to gauge when to start the shooting? You know, what is he thinking? Is he like typing a note? I know he's going to be on his phone quite a bit. You know, what was he texting, or what was he looking at, or what was he viewing? Did he do a post online? Did he contact his family? Did he send messages? Some people even want to like video it, like live stream this horror. No, we have to look at the mindset of these mass shooters. We have to try to understand their thinking, their planning. We have to try to figure out, you know, what does a mass shooter look like? You know, are there behaviors? Is there personality traits? Is there an age range? You know, what are the red flags? Is that like nervous behavior? No, he's up, he's moving all the time, he's got to go to the restroom. It's like fidgeting a little bit. So the teacher calls him up. We're going to hear her testimony too. We're going to hear what she said, what she thought, and what she did, her actions. He's got that foam out again. Is he checking the time? Is he checking when is this first hour class going to end? He's tapping that leg. You know, I think that's a sign of nervousness. Colt remains in first period class for 1 hour, 5 minutes after returning from the restroom. So that time is approaching. The adrenaline has to be rushing. He's tapping that leg again. He's counting down the time. He's going to check that phone again. And I guess all the students are allowed to be on the phone because the student next to him is also on his phone. But I think Colt's on his phone for a different reason. It looks like he's either searching for something or texting someone. You know, I'm sure it's going to all come out in the trial. He seems out of sorts to me. If one is paying attention, I mean, he's literally right there in front of her. And I'm sure she has work to do and a lesson. But I would notice that behavior, the fidgeting, the constant up and down and moving. You know, I would lock my eyes in and pay close attention to the behavior. You know, I take that phone. I want to know, what is he texting? What is he writing? But it seems like they're allowed to use their cell phones in class. So, you know, that's probably not going to happen. He's still on that phone. So now they're changing classes and he's about to pick up this big bag with a project, the alleged project, which is the weapon, wrapped up. I wonder what was that in his hand that he stuffed in his pocket. She's talking to him. I wonder if she's asking him about what's in the backpack. What's the project? She sees him walk off with it. Now she's released him into the hallways. I'd be very concerned. And she was. She went and reported what she saw. They just couldn't get him fast enough. He's moving with it. Passing staff, passing other students. Disturbing. No one else has a project this size. No one else has an object this size. Here he comes. No one stops him. Just overlook him. Just oblivious to what's going on. Very shocking. Colt enters the second period classroom. Whew. So here he comes with that large object right in front of another teacher, another educator, not trying to conceal it, not trying to hide it, sits it right there. He's on the phone. We failed these kids. We failed them. Colt isn't pulling out a notebook. He's not pulling out pen and paper. Look how close they are. Nobody's questioning what's in his bag, what project it is, what class is it for. No one's asking him anything. He's just in the back, meddling. And we all know we're just a few minutes away from the mass shooting that's about to unfold. Nobody's wondering, like, hey, what is this object? What is this big thing? What is that you have in front of you, next to you? Everyone's kind of on their phone, got their phone. He's steady messing around with that bag. He's having a hard time dealing with it. It's so large and long. He just keeps messing with his shirt. You know, all anticipation for the start of this shooting. He doesn't have any paper out. He's not ready to take any notes, engaging in the class, the lesson. Everyone other than him seems to be preparing. Okay, now he's pulled something out of his bag. Cole remains in second period class for 6 minutes more before going to the restroom with the backpack, because he can't leave the backpack, right? Maybe someone will be interested to know what's in there. Why does he need to take the backpack to the restroom? That should have been a, hey, wait a minute, let's see what's going on. What do you have in the backpack? What's this large item? That doesn't happen. He gathers it up and carries it. She doesn't stop him. Carries it out. Goes to the restroom with it. He had no intention of doing any classwork. He's taking his big, bulky backpack. He can't even close the door without setting it down. And no one notices anything. Scary. Scary business. You see Miss Iramy's name is right there on the left. She's one of our victims, you know, close in proximity to the restroom. Now 55:05 a.m. through 10:03:35 a.m. The second period continues and Colt is in the restroom. At 10:03:35 a.m., Colton Gray leaves second period classroom and goes to the restroom. Colt Gray remains. So they're both in the restroom. Colt Gray and Colton Gray. Their names are similar, Colt and Colton. What are the odds? What are the odds that there would be a Colton Gray and a Colton Gray, a Colt Gray in the same classroom, second period, in the bathroom at the same time? With such similar names. Colt with a C and Colton with a K. So he's headed to the restroom, the male restroom. Assistant principal comes into the classroom looking for Colton Gray, leaves the classroom with Colton's backpack. Colt Gray remains in the restroom, and it's 10:06:07 a.m. So literally, Colt and Colton are both in the male restroom. There's a mix-up with names, and they take Colton Gray's backpack, not Colt. But we already know Colt took his own backpack to the restroom. So that's where the mix-up was. That's where the mix-up was. Mixed up the name, and they took the wrong backpack. And Colt, when he left and exited the room to go to the bathroom, he took his backpack to the restroom. So he's in the restroom with his backpack. See, they're grabbing Colton's backpack, not Colt's. Three 48 school resource officers go into restroom to pull out Colton Gray. Colt Gray remains in the restroom. Now you got to remember, logically, Colt may have just stayed back quietly while they took Colton out of the restroom because he's hearing what these resource officers are saying. They're taking Colton out, and then Colt still proceeds to do the mass shooting. He does not stop. They're in the bathroom. They're looking for Colton Gray. They have now been alerted that this could possibly be a weapon, but they have the wrong name, the wrong student, and the wrong backpack. They take Colton out. They have his backpack. But in reality, Colt's still in the restroom. They didn't check any other restrooms. They got Colton out, and they took Colton in his backpack, and Colt's in the restroom with his backpack, with the weapon, preparing to do the mass shooting. He didn't stop. 10:54 a.m., Colton Gray returns to second period classroom with assistant principal. Colt Gray remains in the restroom. No one thinks about Colt. Where was the teacher in her thinking? She didn't notice that the backpack that had the large protruding item was Colt's. Colton returns. And nobody's even thinking about Colt Gray. They're not even thinking about it. We have to look up sometimes and pay attention. Help the teacher. Nobody thought, well, where is Colt? Colt didn't come back. 10:11:33 through 10:21:12 a.m. Second period continues. Colt Gray remains in the restroom. No one thinks, where is Colt? He's been gone for a long time. 10:21:12 a.m. Colt Gray exits the restroom wearing yellow gloves, carrying a backpack and poster board. So those were gloves that he was stuffing in his pocket. Now, they're not looking at the cameras. Colt walks to his second period class where he removes the weapon from his backpack. A female student looks through the door window and alerts the teacher. The teacher activates school alert button. Classes shelter in place. He's now ready to do the shooting. 10:22:10 to 10:22:51 a.m. The shooting event occurs, lasting approximately 41 seconds. 41 seconds of terror. He emerges from the bathroom, goes back to his class, same clothes on, with the backpack, has the yellow gloves. He's ready to start the shooting. He's at the door with the weapon.
Your Honor, that's the cutoff for.
But a female student sees him and does not let him in the classroom.
She'll switch for recording the TV monitors. Just no one in the media or otherwise, just to record or.
Okay, so let me just say right here, this is the point where they can no longer show the video. They have to stop the video here because they can't release the footage from the mass shooting. However, counsel, the defense, and the prosecutor's office and the jury will all have access to view the mass shooting. They're going to watch the video now. And this is the response of what the cameras pick up. And primarily they pick up Colt Gray crying from watching the mass shooting unfold.
Photograph the TV monitor.
know, it has to grieve you as a parent to see your child in live coloring video do a mass shooting with the weapon that you purchased them, that you intended to show them, to spend time with them, to try to gain their interest, to bond with them, to go hunting. You had to know his mental health, his struggles, his violent nature, his anger, his rage, his disappointment. You have to know your child. And he was not capable of handling such a strong responsibility.
And Byron, the video when he steps into the classroom and fires, was that zoomed in on Colt?
Yes, sir.
Does it, by zooming in on Colt, does it exclude a lot of the rest of the room?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right, this time we would like to play just the clip from inside that classroom from the fisheye camera unaltered so that it shows what the other students are doing in that classroom, since they are all charged victims in the case.
Is this 191.2?
It's actually 191.3,
No,
Your
you
Honor.
have to be careful about being
But
negligent.
I think it's exhibit 22.
22.1.
22.1. And Your Honor, this would not be. At 2 minutes, we stop it. And then after that, they can't show anymore.
Burns.
No, good.
All right.
This is the pause, Your Honor.
All right, so there's be no recording or broadcasting, photographing from this point to the end of the video.
Yes, sir.
You got to face it. Had it not been for your purchase, your purchases, as your son said, you were buying, or he was putting together his mass shooter costume. You bought the items. You bought all the items that he needed to complete the mass shooting. And he may have manipulated you into getting an AR style weapon, but that was just so he could hurt as many people as he could. You have to accept the deception, the evil. It's the only way you can heal. You have to accept what happened, what your son did. He hurt a lot of people. But had it not been for the purchase, we would not have the gun violence without the purchase of the weapon, without the purchase of the ammunition, something that is high-powered, assault-like, would not have these huge high numbers. And this was only 41 seconds of terror. Imagine if he had more time, how many people would have been hurt? You know, we have to make better choices. We have to think about the things that we're doing because they can impact so many people. And if you have any doubts, any concerns, you don't do it. Do not purchase a weapon for someone that is depraved, that's mentally ill, that is struggling, that has rage, anger, violent tendencies. You cry today, but those families are going to cry a lifetime. The loss. You can't get any of them back. Senseless. Devastating. Life-changing.
Buyer, from your viewing of the video, when the shooter left the classroom, how did the door get shut?
Based on my review of the video, the door was closed by Christian Angelo.
Nothing further.
Thank you, guys. Good afternoon, Agent.
Afternoon, sir.
You had a pretty big presence there at the school, I'm sure, by the GBI. Did you have a number of people from your unit there in Athens?
Yes, sir.
How many people from Athens came, if you remember?
Everybody that was assigned to our office, both of our supervisors, every field agent that was working that day, even those that
Okay.
may not have been working at the office, came at some point in the day.
And a number of your colleagues from Atlanta also showed up, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know whether there were any agents there that were doing, say, the investigation of what was at the home of Mr. Gray?
There was an investigation ongoing at the Gray home. I'm not personally familiar with it. I never went there and never laid eyes on it, sir.
Okay. That was not something you had anything to do with.
No, sir.
And did anyone share any of that information with you? In other words, any of the items that were found at the home?
There were small details coming in throughout the day, throughout the next several days. There were some photographs that were shared. Specifically, I can't recall exactly what all was shared at that time. There was a lot going on in those days.
Okay. And you don't recall who the particular agent from GBI would have gone to the home to do an analysis of what was found at the home?
No, sir, I did not know.
And looking at the video, we see at 8:02, Colt
I
Gray
just want to pause it here. GBI is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
texting someone.
Yes, sir.
Did anyone indicate to you who that might be that he was texting at
No, sir.
8:02?
No, sir.
You didn't collect his phone, correct?
Not personally, no, sir. I transported it at some point to the Barrow County Sheriff's Office for extraction, but I did not personally collect it.
All right. We noticed also in the video that the resource officers go to the bathroom and they pull out Colton Gray, another Gray with similar name.
Yes, sir.
Were they in the same bathroom as Colt Gray?
Yes, sir.
So Colt Gray and Colton Gray were both in the same bathroom at the same time.
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know why nobody got the right Colton Gray out of the bathroom?
Not personally, no. To the best of my knowledge, based on interviews that I did with Ms. D. Martin, the assistant principal, there was confusion in regards to the name, and there was also confusion in regards to Colt Gray himself, because he had not been at the school for an extended period of time, and he was lesser known than Colton Gray was.
Okay, so nobody gave anybody a description of who this person or what this person may look like?
That I don't know, sir.
And was there anything else done in relation to this case by you other than dealing with these videotapes?
Yes, sir. I conducted a number of interviews, mostly of teachers and administrative staff at the school. I did not interview any of the students or children that attended the school. Several interviews and video review were primarily the bulk of what I contributed to the investigation.
Okay. Did you do, or anyone with your unit talk to any of the students that were in the same classroom that he was?
There were a number of student interviews conducted by GBI agents. I did not participate in those, sir.
Okay. And no one, to your knowledge, indicated that they had seen this gun sticking out of the cardboard piece that it was in?
No, sir. Nobody, based on the staff members and teachers that I interviewed, nobody told me specifically that they saw the gun. There was a mere suspicion that there was an unusual object in the bag, but nobody was able to identify it as a rifle.
All right. Thank you for your work, Hayden.
Yes, sir.
You see, there's even some respect there, knowing that, you know, this is a hard, tough situation for even the detectives, the police, the law enforcement. Okay, that's the end of that testimony. What I'm going to do is come back again with a new witness and we'll go over the testimony. Please let me know in the comments what you think. I commented throughout the video, so I just want to thank you for spending this time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I want you to stay safe, stay smart, stay savvy. Be well, all my friends. Bye, everybody.